Yesterday we ended with a problem that we have right here. Okay, so we're going to look at another one. Okay, so we had a problem just like this yesterday. And if you remember, what we did is we split up the square root. So really this is like the square root of a to the 9th over the square root of b to the 5th. And then we understood that the number outside of the root here is a 2. That's what the index is in a square root. Okay, so if there's not a number written, it's always implied to be 2. And if I were to simplify the square root of a to the 9th, I have to think about how many times does 9 go into, or does 2 go into 9? Well, the problem is it doesn't go in evenly. All right, so what is the largest number that's smaller than 9 that 2 goes into? 8, right? And so really it would be a to the 4th power. So really it's like you have square root of a to the 8th and square root of a, for those of you that are kind of having a hard time visualizing this. And so here's my square root of a to the 4th right here. And then I'm going to be left with square root of a. All right. Now I've got to do the same thing with the b. So I have to think about, okay, what is the largest number that's just smaller than 5 that 2 will go into? 4. So really it'll be the square root of b to the 4th and the square root of b, right? What's the square root of b to the 4th? B squared. Square root of b we can't take, so we're leaving that as root b. Now if you remember yesterday I told you something you couldn't have. And what can't you have? Roots in the bottom. So I've got to somehow get rid of this square root. Now the nice thing is you want it to just be a square root. When it gets to be a 3rd root, 4th root, 5th root, things get a little more complicated. So in this case, if it's a square root, all I'm going to do is multiply by whatever that square root is. Kicker is you have to multiply both the top and the bottom by it so that you don't alter the expression itself. So on the top now, I'm left with a to the 4th, root ab. Yes, you can combine those. So don't treat them as two separate square roots. On the bottom, I need to simplify this. So if I have root b times root b, what does that simplify to be? Root b squared, which is just b, right? Because we've gotten rid of the square root. So I already have a b squared times a b gives me b to the 3rd. Yep, there you go. There's your answer. So that's where we left yesterday. What we're going to look at today is this. What happens when it's not a square root? When it is a 4th root? Okay? So I'll let you get that down. I'll let you go ahead and split up the 4th root as well. Okay, so what we should be left with is we should be left with the 4th root of 6 over the 4th root of 5 times the 4th root of x. Okay, or you could write that as the 4th root of 5x. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Now, in order to get rid of that 4th root, okay, we can't multiply by the 4th root. Because if I multiply x to the 1/4 times x to the 1/4, oops, should be a 4 by the way, what do you get? You get x to the 2/4, which is x to the 1/2, right? We want to get it to x to the 1st. We've got to get rid of the root. So let's think about that. What does this have to be? So I'm looking specifically at this fraction right here. What does this fraction have to be so that when I multiply them, I get x to the 1st? 3/4. Okay. So what we're going to have to multiply by, this is where things get a little interesting. Okay. We're going to have to multiply this by the 4th root of 5 cubed. and then the 4th root of x cubed. That's what the 3/4 is. Okay, the 4th root of 5 cubed, the 4th root of x cubed. Now remember, when I do that, I have to do that on both the top and the bottom. Okay, so on the top, we got a little bit of a mess we're going to have to clean up. So first of all, I've got the 4th root power, right? So let's talk about what I'm going to have inside. What's one term I'm going to have inside the 4th root? 6. Good. What's another term? 5 cubed. Yep. What's another term? You're right. What was the other? X cubed. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking all of these terms, this one, and this one. Since they all have the 4th root, we can combine those all underneath one 4th root power. Now the denominator here, we talked about what happens when I multiply a 1/4 by a 3/4. And what happens is it's gone, right? Okay. And so really I'm going to be left with a 5, and I'm going to be left with an x. Now, for those of you that are kind of a little perplexed, would you agree that this is 5 to the 1/4 power? Do you agree that? This is x to the 1/4. What is this going to be? 5 to the 3/4, right? What's this going to be? X to the 3/4. So now, let's think about things. If I combine these, I get 5 to the 1/4 and 5 to the 3/4, which is really 5 to the 4/4, which is 5 to the 1st, which is 5. X to the 1/4, x to the 3/4 is exactly what we talked about in our initial example, is x to the 1st. So basically, we have to multiply by that cube, or that 3/4 power, in order to eliminate the root. So the last thing I need to do, can somebody guess? It's just one little thing I need to do. Multiply these, yep. Multiply these right here. So what number is that? What number is that? It's a big number. What? 725. Yep. I don't think so.
It's 750.
750. Okay, so 750 x cubed is on the top in the 4th root, and on the bottom is 5x. And there you go.
Wow, do we like those?
Nope. I don't either. They are not my favorite by any means. We're going to look at another one. Okay. Now you can see why I stopped yesterday and I said we'll pick up with these tomorrow. Okay, so on this one, what we're going to do is we're going to split this up. So you've got the 5th root of 3 over the 5th root of 4 times the 5th root of y. So now I've got to get rid of those roots, right? What do you think I'm going to multiply by? The 5th root of 4 to the what? 4th, good. That's right, because remember that's the 1/5 power. Okay, this was 4 to the 1/5 power. So to get rid of it, we need to multiply by a 4 to the 4/5. And so over here, it's going to be the 5th root of y to the 4th. Now, is it always going to be 1 less than the denominator? Yeah, it actually is if you start with the 5th root, okay, or the 6th root or the 7th root, it's always going to be 1 less. So on the top, I've got multiply by the same thing. Okay. So now we're just going to combine things and we should be good to go. So on the top, I've got the 5th root of, somebody tell me what I'm going to have inside? 3. What else? 4 to the 4th, yep. What else? Y to the 4th, good. What am I going to have on the bottom? 4y, perfect, nice job. Final thing I need to do is
Will
what?
that always be the same number as
Yep. Now, if you didn't catch what Drew was asking, she was asking, is it always going to be the same as what that is? Yeah, it will be if you've done it correctly. So what do I get on the top? What? 4 to the 4th should be a big number, because that should be like 256, and take it times 3. 768. Okay. All right, I think we're probably going to look at 2 more problems, then we'll call it good, and we'll pick up more on Friday. Okay, so. Oh, so first of all, you had 18 through 25 all. Okay, so go ahead and do you have the 25 done then?
You said there's 22.
Okay, so what I want you to do is add through 25. We're going to do one more problem and we're going to call it good for today. Okay. Okay, here's going to be the problem, and what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and kind of be a intro to tomorrow, kind of like what we did yesterday. And if you wanted to, you could actually start working on your future assignment as well. So now, if you notice, I have 6 times the square root of c cubed, or square root of 8c cubed d to the 5th, times 4 times the square root of 2cd cubed. So first of all, I'm going to combine the outside, 24. Now what I'm going to do on the inside is going to look a little different. You're probably going to be like, whoa, what? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and combine the 8 and the 2, which is 16. I'm now going to combine the c cubed and the c, which is, and then what do I get for d? D to the 8. So now what I need to do is break those down if I can. Okay. So here I end up having this right here. I want you to go ahead and finish that for me because I think you can go ahead and finish that. Okay, so what did you end up getting?
96.
96? C squared, d to the 4th. Did you check the even odds?
No.
Ah, even. So we are good to go. The 96, the square root of 16, you know, is 4, guys. So you've got 24 times 4, which is 96. Square root of c to the 4th is c squared, and d to the 4th. Now, we're going to go ahead and continue on with this tomorrow. If you want to go ahead and start working ahead, the rest of your assignment will be 26 through 44 to the evens. So, 18 through 25 all, 26 through 44 to the evens.